The alarm clock didn't scream. It just whispered. 4 a.m., a quiet suggestion in the deep darkness. And for the 100th time, my first thought was, no, not today. My body felt heavy, not with sleep, but with the weight of yesterday's failure and the day before that. And all the days before that stretched back into a blurry line of effort that seemed to lead nowhere. Getting out of bed wasn't a heroic leap. It was a slow, creaking negotiation with gravity and my own spiraling thoughts. What's the point? The question hung in the cold air of the room. I didn't have a good answer. There was no finish line in sight, no cheering crowd, just me, the quiet hum of the refrigerator, and the promise of another day of pushing a boulder up a hill, only to watch it roll back down. I'd started this journey, whatever you want to call it, with a spark, a vision of who I could be. Stronger, more disciplined, someone who finished what they started. The first few weeks were fueled by pure motivation. It was easy then. The progress was visible. The energy was high. But motivation is a fickle friend. It visits, fills your head with grand ideas, and then vanishes without a word, leaving you alone in the dark. And that's where I was now. Alone in the dark, I put on my running shoes, the laces worn and familiar. My mind raced with excuses. It's too cold. My knee aches a little. One more day of rest won't hurt. No one would know if I quit. In fact, no one even knew I was trying. This battle was entirely invisible, fought in the silent hours before the world woke up. That was the loneliest part, pouring your soul into something with no guarantee of a return, no one to even notice the effort. Stepping outside, the cold air hit my face. The street lights cast long, lonely shadows. I started to jog, my feet hitting the pavement in a reluctant rhythm. The first mile was always a liar. It told me I was weak, that I couldn't do it, that I should turn back. My lungs burned. My legs felt like lead. Doubt was a loud, convincing voice in my head. See, you haven't gotten any better. You're just wasting your time. Go back to bed. You're not cut out for this. There were so many moments I wanted to stop, right there in the middle of the empty street. Just bend over, catch my breath, and walk home in defeat. It would be so easy, a sweet relief. But then a different thought, quieter but more stubborn, would surface. Just to the next streetlight. That's all I'd tell myself. Not the whole run, not the whole journey, just the next 50 feet. And so I did. My breath ragged, my mind a war zone. I ran to the next light, and when I got there, I'd whisper it again. Okay, just to that big oak tree. Little contracts. Tiny, manageable promises I made to myself, because the thought of the entire mountain was crushing. But a single step, I could handle one more step. Some days were better than others. There were mornings the rhythm felt right, where the air felt crisp and clean, and for a few fleeting moments I felt strong. I'd cling to those moments, replay them in my mind on the bad days. They were proof that the feeling existed, that it wasn't just a fantasy. They were the embers I would gently blow on when the fire of my spirit was threatening to go out completely. I started a journal, not to track monumental victories, but to document the simple fact that I showed up. The pages weren't filled with tales of triumph. They were simple, almost boring. Woke up at 4, ran, felt terrible, but I did it. Tried a new project today, failed, learned what not to do. Will try again tomorrow. It was a logbook of persistence. Reading it back, I didn't see a hero. I saw someone who was tired, who was struggling, but who, for some reason, just kept going. The change, when it came, wasn't a lightning strike. It was more like the slow, imperceptible shift of seasons. It wasn't that the runs got easier. They didn't. It wasn't that the failures stopped. They didn't. What changed was me. The voice of doubt was still there, but it wasn't as loud. A new voice had grown alongside it, a quieter, calmer one that had been forged in those countless, thankless mornings. That voice didn't make grand promises. It didn't tell me I was destined for greatness. It just said, "You've felt this way before, and you kept going. You can do it again." The muscle of resilience had been growing invisibly with every single step I took when I wanted to stop. With every morning I got out of bed when it felt pointless. I realized that self-belief isn't something you're born with. It's not a gift. It's a calloused hand. It's built. You build it by keeping the promises you make to yourself, especially when no one is watching. Every time I chose the discomfort of the run over the comfort of my bed, I was casting a vote for the person I wanted to become. I was laying another brick in the foundation of my own self-respect. The victory wasn't crossing a finish line. The victory happened every single day in that quiet moment of decision. The decision to get up. The decision to lace up my shoes. The decision to take one more step. The victory was refusing to let the feeling of failure have the final say. One morning, months into this silent routine, I was out on my usual route. The sun was just starting to bleed over the horizon, painting the sky in soft shades of orange and pink. I was tired, like always. My legs ached, like always. But as I ran, a feeling of deep, quiet peace washed over me. It wasn't exhilaration. It wasn't triumph. It was just ... strength. A solid, grounded feeling in my core. I realized I wasn't running from the person I was anymore. I was running toward the person I was becoming. And I didn't need to see the top of the mountain to know I was climbing it. So if you're out there in the dark, feeling like your effort is invisible and pointless,